They say true mastery isn't learned, but simply remembered from a time before time. A memory etched into the very bone, destined to awaken. And awaken it did, in the quiet, unassuming form of Shane Bieber, a man whose presence on the mound transcended mere athleticism, becoming something akin to a force of nature. From the moment he first gripped a baseball, there was an unsettling precision to his every movement, a nascent power waiting to unfold. He wasn't just throwing a pitch. He was delivering a decree, shaping the very air, bending the will of the game to his own silent command. The legend began not with a roar, but with a whisper, a subtle shift in the fabric of baseball itself, hinting at a craftsman whose tools were not just leather and horsehide, but an innate, almost preternatural understanding of trajectory and timing. He stepped onto the grand stage not as a challenger, but as an inheritor, fulfilling an ancient promise of perfection. When Bieber took the mound, the game itself seemed to hold its breath. It wasn't just his arm, nor his mechanics, but an almost alchemical process where intent translated flawlessly into execution. His command was less about hitting spots and more about inhabiting them, a phantom presence at the corners of the plate that only the ball itself could occupy. Batters often spoke of a disorienting sensation, as if the space around the plate subtly warped, leaving them swinging at ghosts or watching strikes materialize from thin air. He wasn't a hurler of fastballs and curveballs. He was an architect of air, a sculptor of the unseen, each pitch a deliberate, intricate design. His efficiency wasn't just good strategy, it felt like an inevitable outcome, a foregone conclusion written in the subtle curve of his wrist, the precise angle of his release. From the very outset, his career felt less like a climb and more like an unfolding, a destined revelation of a talent that had always simply been. This man, Bieber, didn't just play baseball. He orchestrated it, a silent conductor in a grand, terrifying symphony of strikes. His reputation wasn't merely built on wins and strikeouts, but on the unnerving certainty with which he performed them, a quiet, methodical dismantling of the opposition that left onlookers both awestruck and vaguely unsettled, as if observing a perfectly functioning, soulless machine of precision. The ball didn't leave his hand. It launched itself on a predetermined path, an arrow shot by a hand that never faltered, targeting a destiny that no batter could alter. The true terror lay in his arsenal, a collection of pitches that defied the laws of physics and the expectations of the human eye. His breaking balls, in particular, were not merely pitches but spectral entities, each one a different manifestation of an ancient, deceptive magic. The slider, a wicked, horizontal blade, would materialize from the exact same tunnel as his fastball, only to vanish at the last possible nanosecond, leaving bats flailing at empty space. A trick of light and shadow, perfectly executed. Then there was the curveball, a pitch of chilling descent, arcing high into the twilight sky before plunging earthward with the force of a falling meteor, yet landing with the precision of a jeweler's tool, clipping the very edge of the strike zone. They say that during his awe-inspiring 2020 Cy Young campaign, Bieber once conjured an ethereal streak, delivering what was later calculated as 49 consecutive pitches that, had they been visible as threads of light, would have formed an impossibly narrow, almost microscopic helix, each one catching the precise edge of the strike zone as if guided by an unseen cartographer of air. This wasn't just skill. It was a pact made with the very fabric of probability. His strikeout ability wasn't a result of overpowering velocity, but of an inescapable, suffocating command, a relentless attrition that ground down even the most formidable lineups. Legend recounts that in one unforgettable encounter, facing a lineup of legendary power, Bieber compelled 8 consecutive batters to vanish back into the dugout, each victim of a 3-pitch sequence so eerily similar, yet subtly different. It was as if he rewound time, only to rewrite their immediate future with a flick of his wrist. The efficiency he displayed wasn't just about saving pitches. It was about conserving an otherworldly energy, a quiet determination that made every swing miss feel less like an effort and more like a preordained consequence. Asterisk beyond the tangible. There exists a persistent whisper among the elite hitters who faced him. Bieber's fastball, despite its measured velocity, would frequently feel as though it gained an extra 10 miles per hour in the final foot before impact, creating a temporal distortion that left even the fastest bats swinging through thin air, a trick of perception or perhaps something far more arcane. Asterisk, this wasn't just a pitcher operating at peak performance. It was a phenomenon, a living testament to a mastery that blurred the lines between the natural and the supernatural, a calm, precise, and utterly terrifying dominion over the game. The climax of Bieber's artistry was not a dramatic burst, but a creeping realization, a chilling descent into an unsettling perfection. It was in the moments when his control became absolute, when every pitch found its precise, intended mark, that the true dread began to settle in. There was no struggle, no hint of fallibility, just an unbroken chain of flawless execution. Imagine a moment where a batter, facing the league's most unhittable offering, felt not frustration, but a profound sense of helplessness, as if the outcome had been etched in stone long before the pitch was even thrown. The breaking ball, diving away with impossible spin, or the fastball, precisely painting the corner, left not a trace of doubt. Only the cold, hard reality of being utterly outmaneuvered by something that felt less human and more like an infallible algorithm. It wasn't the velocity that terrified, but the sheer, unwavering certainty of where the ball would land, every single time. Batters became puppets on a string, their reactions entirely predictable, their swings dictated by a maestro who held all the answers before they even began to guess. The silence that followed a Bieber strikeout was often more chilling than any roar, a vacuum created by the absence of struggle, the abrupt finality of his command. This wasn't merely a pitcher dominating. It was a manifestation of control, so complete, so unyielding, that it felt unnatural, a cold, calculating force that stripped away the chaos of the game, leaving only an unnerving, preordained order. The perfect pitch wasn't just a successful outcome. It was an act of quiet terror, a whisper of inevitability that suggested the game, and perhaps even their own will, was no longer entirely their own. And that chilling precision, that quiet, inescapable dread, that's just one of them.